All right, yo, we're back with more reacting to Volske specifically, I suppose. Dude has a bunch more Resident Evil stuff on his channel after I decided to take a look. And we're going to be taking a look at his ranking of every Resident Evil game that he's played. So, yeah, let's first of all, I don't know how much he's played. I don't know which games he's played. I'm guessing all the mainline games probably, at least. Oh, I think I saw something about Revelations on his thing as well. I guess that's a mainline game. Anyways, okay, let's jump into this.
Ever since the 90s, Resident Evil has been some of the greatest games ever made, but some are definitely without a doubt better than others. And before we start, I want to say this is 100% my list. I know this thing some people might not agree with, but put your pitchforks down to the end of the video, alright? Hear me out. But without further ado, in last place, obviously, we have Resident Evil 6.
11 of them.
I want to say, just because it's in last place doesn't mean I don't think it's a good game. To be fair, I don't think it's a great game, but it has some redeeming factors. Like
it has some redeeming
factors. The melee
factors.
encounter system are very fun, but the gunplay is very slow and sloppy. And secondly, the characters old and new are very entertaining, but even after 3 playthroughs, the story makes zero sense to me. And
the story's fucking terrible.
This game looks, everything looks weird and glowy. And every character in this game is just really edgy. Like Leon is edgy, Chris is edgy, everyone's way edgier than they were before. And this is more of a personal preference, but I'm really not a fan of the multiplayer focus. But yeah, to summarize it,
I was gonna say, like, I wonder if Volske played it with somebody else, because that definitely changes the opinion, I think. Like, I tried playing this game single player, and it's fucking awful. It's terrible. But playing it with a buddy or whatever and kind of making fun of it, and yeah, it's a good time. It's a good time with somebody else. But, like, I wish could just play it as a normal solo experience as well and have a good time with it, but it's pretty hard.
I do like this game. I've enjoyed it. I played it with friends. It's a good time.
Okay.
But it's definitely not my favorite game in the series. Next up, we have Resident Evil 3 Remake. It actually surprised me how low on the list Resident Evil 3 Remake is. But going through my feelings on it, it makes sense. Firstly, that's the cut content. It honestly feels like there's more from the original cut than there is actually in the game.
Yeah.
Like the first area in the original is more of a glorified cutscene in this. The park is cut. The clock tower is cut. One of my favorite parts about the original is the build-up. Like, you meet Brad in a bar.
I mean, the good thing... Well, that was a weird time to pause, apparently. The really good thing about the original was feeling like you're actually trekking through Raccoon City and you're seeing different places and you're having to do a bunch of little things in a lot of different places. So the fact that, like, so much of this game is just, like, hunting around the same couple streets at the beginning and then ending off in a lab, it's such a bummer. It's such a bummer because besides that stuff, like, I think the characters are better in this. Well, except maybe Jill. I really like who was it? Catherine Disher, I think, that did the voice of Jill. I really like her voice in the original. But, like, all of the mercs are way better. Nikolai is way better in this. Carlos actually has character. So it's too bad because it could have been phenomenal, but it just felt like such a weird cash grab. I understand why it's this low.
Bar, and he's terrified about this mysterious monster. He's warning you. He's freaked out. He's like, we're all gonna die. And it's not until like a half an hour in until you actually see Nemesis. But in the remake, you have a nightmare, wake up, answer the phone, and boom, Nemesis just
like
busts
right
through
away.
the wall in the first 5 minutes. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Okay. And talking more about Nemesis, in the original, he was a stalker. He was following you around the map pretty much the whole time. But in the remake, he just kind of shows up, chases you around, and then disappears.
He's a quick time event.
Fight. Oh my god, you kill him, he disappears again. He comes back. This time he's a dog. Oh my god.
Yeah.
You kill him again. And it's like...
Bitch can't even swim, though.
They really neutered Nemesis hard in this game. Also, I'm really not a fan with what they did with Jill Valentine in this game. She's just a very angry person.
She really is. Like, okay, I understand where you're coming from, because I prefer the Disher version in our RE3 OG for sure. But, like, there's something cathartic about her being so fucking done with things. So I disagree in that way. But yeah, I mean, I don't think she's as good, even though I think, like, I really like her character model and the new look and stuff that she has in this. Yeah, I don't know. I'm iffy, but I understand it.
She is confident, she is focused, she is determined, she doesn't let anything get to her. She's always telling herself, I have to go, I have to win, they can't beat me, right? But in this game, she's just like, fuck you too, fuck you.
I mean,
fuck
she's
your
done.
mom, fuck you. And it's like, jeez.
Look, I get it, but she's so fucking done with it, and I really appreciate that. As an older person who is also so fucking done with it, I appreciate it.
Christ. Why are you so angry in this one, Jill? I'm sorry, I ranted a little bit there. I like this game. It's just,
Yeah.
I have no idea why it exists. There's no point to it. It's
I mean,
not
money.
better than the original. It doesn't. It's pretty much just like a DLC for Resident Evil 2. If you want to play Resident Evil 2
Yeah,
a little
kind
bit
of.
more, just play this. I
Not
guess.
wrong.
Next up, we have Resident Evil Village.
Resident Evil? Oh, I found your typo. Yeah, okay.
Evil Village starts off really
I'm trying to decide in my mind if RE3 remake or Village, which one I would rank lower. It's weird because I've played through RE3 remake multiple times, and I've played through Village twice. And the second time you play through Village, it feels kind of like a slog. The first time's really fun, though. Okay, let's see what you have to say about it.
The atmosphere, the horror, locations, characters, all are amazing. But as you keep playing, the cracks start to show.
Mommy.
The story is really dumb. The gameplay is stiff and too snappy. All the boss fights except for Lady Dimitrescu are boring. The middle part is extreme.
Is that true? Are they? You have that giant mech fight. I don't know that that was boring, but it was kind of bad. You have the hide and seek with the doll. That's kind of bad. I think the Moreau fight's okay. It's not great, but it's all right, I suppose. He says I'm the best while doing a Free Willy slap down. Like, I don't know, it's kind of fun. They're okay.
The second you leave House Beneviento, the story just freezes. Nothing interesting happens for 2 whole hours. I just kind of wish it was entirely about Lady Dimitrescu, because that portion in the castle, nothing surpasses it. It's just perfect, just slowly unlocking the whole thing. Boss fights in there, the enemies in there. It's just a game at its best, and it sucks that once you leave that castle, the game just changes and goes down in quality. And Ethan Winters, the protagonist, is so boring. I know he's meant to be that way, but he it
doesn't
really
excuse it. I agree.
Literally all he says is, "What the hell, Chris? What the fuck?" And like every single thing he says, "What the hell? What was that? What the hell?" And like
he had more personality in 7.
I just don't like him.
Sure.
I don't like that guy.
Yeah,
also,
fair.
the baby in House Beneviento was too scary. Next, we have Resident Evil 5. I don't really have a lot to say about this game. It's pretty good. It's a fun little co-op game if you have a friend. But if you don't have a friend, it can be really frustrating. The AI partner Sheva will just waste ammo, waste healing, get in the way, and
If you're playing this single player, just as a heads up to anybody who might be watching this for some fucking two nerds talking about Resident Evil in a deep way, and you don't know what we're talking about, if for some reason you're playing this or you're going to play this and you don't know, you don't have somebody to play it with, just give Sheva the knife and nothing else, and like maybe some healing or something so that she can heal you if necessary. But even then, probably not. Just don't give her anything because she'll just waste it.
She's pretty frustrating. And even if you get past the frustrating AI partner, some of the enemies can take like a full clip of bullets to kill sometimes, and it can be really annoying. But this game also has Albert Wesker, who is my personal favorite Resident Evil villain. He is just so much fun. He just does so much stupid stuff. Like he throws his glasses at Chris catches them and just punches him in the face and stuff. Like
that part is pretty good. That's true.
Overall, this is a
that
really
part
fun
specifically.
game. Playing with a friend can make you forget most of the annoying stuff, and it's just all around a good time. And you should see my videos on them where I played them with my friend, and you should like see them. They're pretty good. I work pretty hard on them. Okay, next up we have Resident Evil 3.
Good Resident Evil 3.
I said a lot about what I wanted to say about this game in the Resident Evil remake part. Nemesis was the first proper stalker in the series. Every time I heard the music that he was in the area, I felt so much anxiety. And the fact that he shows up in different places every time you replay the game. It's not just him that is randomized. Weapon placements, puzzle solutions, item placements, a lot of it is randomized to make up for only being one campaign.
Well,
And
some
this
of
game
it's
is
randomized.
pretty hard as well. This is definitely the hardest in the original trilogy. I probably died on that clock tower fight with Nemesis like 10 times.
It's kind of bullshit, actually,
Valentine, in my
honestly.
opinion. I think that's mainly because every time you die, you can see her inner thoughts, how she's always telling herself she needs to survive, she can't lose, she can't let them win, she has to keep fighting. But yeah, absolutely love this game. If you haven't played it yet, you definitely should. And next we have Resident Evil.
Really? This is pretty low, my dude. What? Like, I know that we have Resident Evil 2 coming up, but my god, this is low. Okay, let's see what you have to say.
This game is amazing. I don't really know how else to open. If you haven't played this game, you have to play it right now. Turn off the video. Like, this is a game you kind of have to play blind. Exploring the mansion is so satisfying. Finally getting all the pieces and piecing it all together is one of the greatest gaming experiences you can experience. And this is one of the few Resident Evil games with multiple endings. You can basically choose who you want to trust, who you want to save, how you're going to get out. It's really fun and satisfying. And though it can be confusing sometimes and you get a lot of healing items, this is definitely what I can very easily recommend to anyone. And next up, we got Resident Evil 7.
This is ridiculous. You're putting 7 above 1? Oh my god. Wow. Alright.
Back when Capcom was really trying to course correct the Resident.
I will say, Resident Evil 7 brought the series back. So, based on like that alone, I could see ranking it pretty high. In fact, I rank it pretty high just because it kind of brought Resident Evil back from death, essentially. That, yeah, just being beaten into the ground. But, okay.
Resident Evil series. They had a really large horror before anything else mindset. And it shows because this is by far the scariest game in the series. You once again play as...
Yeah, probably.
Just give it up, Winter.
And to be honest, I don't really hate him in this game. He's like the perfect amount of boring, if that makes sense. He's actually like an everyman character. Instead of like in Resident Evil Village, where they try and give him more of a personality and stuff and it doesn't really work out, but they also still try to do the everyman thing. But here they just go all in on the everyman thing and it works out really, really, really well. The anxiety never really goes away when playing this game. You're just in a constant state of dread. Like for example, in Resident Evil 1, I would always feel anxious for the first like 30 minutes of entering a new area I've never been before, but once I get used to the layout, I calm down a bit and yeah, it's a pretty chill experience. But in Resident Evil 7, it's just constant anxiety, not knowing if anything's gonna attack you, whether a monster's gonna come out the walls, or Jack Baker's gonna come around the corner, or Marguerite Baker's gonna throw bugs at you, and it's pretty freaky, not gonna lie.
I don't know, man. You didn't find it freaky when you come back into the mansion after doing the guardhouse stuff, and there's all of a sudden this new enemy that can like one tap you basically by cutting your head off, and it moves faster and screeches at you? I don't know. I understand where the horror thing is coming from, but my big problem, I'm gonna continue this and see if you bring it up. My big problem with 7 specifically is that after the Marguerite fight, this game takes a giant dump. It just sucks kind of after that. Like Lucas's whole part with the dumb like little puzzle and stuff is cool the first time, but on subsequent playthroughs, you know the answer, so it's just kind of wasting your time. And then after that, everything to do with the boat is fucking garbage. So, like, the problem I have with Resident Evil 7 specifically, and why I'm a little surprised how high it ranks, is that it is like, the first half is fantastic and amazing, and then it kind of sucks after that. But it's easy to forget the part that sucks, because the first part is so good, so it almost balances itself out. Whereas I just feel like most of the other Resident Evils are solidly either a good or bad experience throughout, with some exceptions, I guess.
This game was too much for some people, and I completely understand that. It also came with a VR mode out of the box, which I haven't played a lot of. I've only played about halfway through the game in VR, but it's
I don't have PSVR,
freaky,
so
not gonna lie. So yeah, I would play this if you want an excuse to get rid of some pants you don't like, because a little bit too scary. And now we got my favorite of the original trilogy, Resident Evil 2.
Oh, did you not play the original Resident Evil 1? Like, based on your ranking here, I don't think it probably would have been very high up, which is fair because it's very dated. But so was it just the remake that you played then? I mean, that makes sense. I think a lot of people jumped on there. So yeah, Resident Evil 2 is fantastic though.
This game was insane.
And I'm guessing the remake is high.
It had some of the best graphics, it had some of the best voice acting, it had some of the best full motion videos. This game just did so much. This game's gimmick is still one of the coolest gimmicks I've ever seen in any game.
Yeah, it's very good.
They called it the zapping system, and there's 2 campaigns with 2 different characters. You can choose to do Leon A or Claire B, or Claire A and Leon B, right? And there's tiny little choices you can make in the first playthrough that will affect the second one. It can cause story changes.
It's very cool.
It can cause weapons not being usable.
It was revolutionary.
Not being usable. Doors being able to unlock that you couldn't unlock before. There's just so many little things that change it that much, and it makes multiple playthroughs more interesting. This game also invented the single enemy that keeps evolving over the game staple of the series. This is one of, if not the best game from the PlayStation era. How to make the greatest sequel of all time? Just take the old greatest sequel of all time and do it again.
I'm actually surprised this isn't a little higher.
Resident Evil 2 and improve it in almost every way. I only have one negative that I want to get out of the way first.
Okay.
They almost completely cut the zapping system. Instead, we got a second run.
Sure.
Mode, which is literally the same thing.
The first and second scenario thing.
But
sure.
other than that, everything else in this remake is...
It would be kind of sick if, like, they kept something where the choices you made changed some little things of the other scenario. I agree. It does make it feel a little more generic in that way without it. Also, weird pause timing for that weird frame.
It's perfect. Story is far better. The gameplay is far better. They swapped to an over-the-shoulder third-person camera view instead of the old fixed cameras.
Yeah, I like the old fixed camera more.
Fixed camera mode, and you can see original early footage of the game being fixed cameras. And it's
my man.
But overall, none of that really matters. This is just a damn-ass good game. Where's everyone going?
True.
To buy the 4th copy of Resident Evil 4? In my 17 years of life,
Look, I understand why this is on here. I think a lot of people would put this very high. This might be a lot of people's number 1. This is like one of my lowest. I don't think this game is very good in comparison to some of the others, but it's still a classic, to be sure.
I've never met a single person who doesn't like Resident Evil 4.
Well, you met me.
This is when Capcom just said, fuck it, let's make the goofiest video game alive. This is single-handedly the most quotable game I've ever played. Every single person has a different favorite line, whether it's no thanks, bro, or where's everybody going? Bingo.
Bingo,
perfect 2000s cheesy goodness. I don't even know what else to say.
Oh, so Resident Evil 4 remakes your one then, probably.
Leon's hair is perfect. Leon's jacket is perfect. I need to stop complimenting Leon. Basically, if you haven't played Resident Evil 4, we can't be friends until you have. It was my favorite Resident Evil game until Resident Evil 4.
Until they remade it. Sure, that's fair.
When this game came out, it completely
the remake is
over my life.
Very good.
I became Leon Kennedy for like 3 weeks straight, like playing this game over and over and over, getting all the achievements. It was not very healthy.
It's too bad Salazar is
just adds so
not Salazar, Sadler.
So little. It's the definition of the perfect remake. I feel like the best.
Well,
way
both
to
Salazar and Sadler are a bit weaker.
About it. Number 1, Leon's hair. Number 2, Leon's abs. Okay, seriously though, I love how they implemented the knife, adding a parry, just making it so much more useful. It's probably the most useful Resident Evil mechanic ever. There's also really crazy character improvements like Louis Serra, Ashley Graham. Krauser's really improved. Leon.
Yeah, they're so much better.
It's just I don't want to spoil anything. If you should just go play the game right now. And the music. This game's music I was just listening to for weeks and weeks even after I'd finished the game. It's so good. I'm sorry if I'm not really making sense. I'm pretty much just complimenting this game over and over again. It's just really good. It's my favorite Resident Evil game. It's my most played Resident Evil game, and it literally just came out. So that's something. And yeah, that's the end of my video. I'm sorry it got a little bit less professional in a way, if that makes sense. At the end, I was just fanboying because I love these games so much, and
I love talking about them, but when I talk about them, I kind of don't make sense. But you know what? That's fine. I hope you guys enjoyed anyway. I have a Resident Evil focused Instagram account if you want to follow that. It's called Daily No Thanks, bro. You can guess what video I post every single day on there. And yeah, I'm sorry if I'm talking a million miles per hour. It's getting late. I'm sick of working on this video, and I'll see you all in a minute.
Okay. Again, good video. Just some thoughts, I guess, of mine here. There is definitely maybe it's different now, but there was a long time where it felt like there was a split, and the people that liked Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3 were on one side, and people that liked the more actiony 4 and on, even though they don't necessarily like 5 and 6, because they were bad or quirky in different ways mechanically. There was kind of a divide. I don't think that divides as much there anymore, but I definitely focus more on, I really like the horror aspect with a little bit of like dumbness in there, which is why I kind of like the first 3 a bit more than what came after it. The problem I have with 4 is completely mechanically, which is why 4 Remake was so good to me personally, in that I hate in Resident Evil 4 going into a room and just being attacked for 20 minutes by a bunch of shitters and just clearing it out and then moving to the next one. It felt monotonous and shitty, where they kind of get rid of a lot of the problems I had that way with Resident Evil 4 Remake, and making the, like, maybe part of it's the parry system. Maybe it just feels like I have more things you can do in it because it's just a better system and a better engine and stuff. I mean, it's modern, right? It's 2023. So versus what, 2004, I think it was, graduation year, 2004, I think. So like, it makes sense that like you fix it mechanically and I would like it more. I do feel you lose a lot of the fun character feel and charisma that the original 4 had, which is kind of a shame. But on the flip side of that, Ashley, Louise, like, everybody is actually a character and they have writing in them. They're not just a dumb stereotype or something. So yeah, 4 Remake is just such a fantastic game. I completely agree it should be like really high up. I just don't really care for or respect 4 as much. Actually, it took Resident Evil 4 in VR to get me to actually be like, yeah, okay, this game's okay, because it just felt different mechanically enough that I felt like I was having a decent time in the long drawn out battle sequences where you're just fighting dudes or whatever, in that the original series never did. Anyways, good video, good rankings. I disagree with a bunch of them. If these are the only games you have played, you should try some of the other ones that people don't talk about as much. I'm a little bit surprised you didn't talk about Revelations, but I'm wondering if maybe, I think this might be an older video, so I'm wondering if maybe you didn't play the Revelations games yet. And if you haven't, you probably should try those out. I know you played Revelations 1 because I saw a video on your channel talking about it. You should try 2 out. 2 is odd. It has... I'd be interested to see videos and hear you talk more about some of those games. So, but anyways, yeah. Again, for anybody watching, the original videos below, go follow this guy. And yeah, I'm out.